My name is Simon Abiodun. I've been an accounting teacher for the past 20 years in South Africa, and I've seen so many things. I've observed so many areas in accounting where the matriculants are failing. And then, although I produce a lot of results, thank God for that. And I just want to call attention of some of our learners, all our accounting learners for this year and so on. Even this one can be applicable to grade 10 to 12. The tips on how to pass accounting with flying colors in matric exams and below. It's very, very important for people to know accounting is a unique subject that need to be addressed or tackled in a very unique ways. The approach for accounting is very, very different from other subjects because it's a very special subject. In that case, it is a subject that encourages and molds the critical skills in learners: logical reasoning, analytical mind, and problem solving. That's why accounting has been divided into two parts, paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1 is actually talking about the financial statement and with interpretation, where paper 2 is on the management part. Talk about the reconciliation, asset valuation, stock valuation, cost and management accounting, budget and so on, and value debtors and some other things like that. Now, if you look at it nicely, we know that the format very, very important. Financial statement format. We have statement of comprehensive income, where we have two notes, note number 1 and note number 2. Then, statement of financial position, we have note number 3 to number 9. Where we have cash flow statement, have note number 1 to number 5. Cost and management accounting, we have cost and manufacturing accounting, we have 6 notes in there. Let me now try to list all those notes from number 1 to number 9. For the comprehensive income, statement of comprehensive income, we have interest income in number 1, number 2, interest expense. When we go to the statement on the financial position, we used to be the balance sheet before, we're no more on that. Then we have number 3, tangible asset or fixed asset. We have inventory number 4. Number 5, trade and other receivable. Number 6 is the cash and cash equivalent. Number 7 is ordinary share capital. Number 8, retained income. Number 9, trade and other payables. Therefore, if you know all those notes, you know how it's being placed in a financial statement, I congratulate you. In fact, you should not be talking about 50 or 60. You should be level 6 and above. Therefore, having said that, there are so many other things involved in accounting, not just about the format. We need to know that accounting is a very jealous subject. It has to be done regularly. You need to practice regularly. You need to take it as if it's the only subject. Unfortunately, you got other subjects as well. Therefore, you need to make your timetable to suit to accommodate accounting regularly. Therefore, cash flow statement format, we have 5 notes in there. Note number 1 is the reconciliation between profit before tax and cash generated from operation, but the short need to be cash generated from operation. Then number 2 on that is cash and cash equivalent. In this one, it's not arranged accordingly. Number 1 is on top, number 2 is the last. Whereas we have number 3, 4, and 5 in between the case closed statement. If you look at the format very well, you master the format, you don't have any problem in that area. Just format, practice the format, make sure you know all the notes, so that when the question comes, if at all you are not going to write the note, you know how to put a bracket to end the partners. Those adjustment, workings, calculation are very, very important to be in the bracket, because it will earn you huge mark in the exam. Therefore, when you're talking about cost or manufacturing accounting, the note are 6 of them, but people don't know. They thought it's only 3. It's more than 3. We have direct material cost, number 1. Number 2, direct labor cost. Number 3 is what you call factory overhead cost. Number 4 is administrative cost. Number 5, selling and distribution. Number 6 can be calculation of cost of sales. Whereas there's no way you do number 6 without knowing all the other, because number 1 to 3 is the one that gives all the cost of production of finished goods. The one that we are going to add to the finished good in the beginning, to remove the finished good at the end from it, to give all the cost of sales. That's the why they came up with the calculation of cost of sales. You need to know the term, the main thing, the basic thing to do, so as not to mess it up, because you cannot, when you put the closing instead of opening, therefore you won't get the right answer. It has to be done. Both you need to know the ledger account of it, calculation, though ledger account might not be part of the MATRIC exam. But if you have the ledger account in mind, if you know it, it will be very, very easy for you to navigate through all those calculations or challenges. Let's go to the concept. Concepts are the key in getting things done properly and balancing your record. If you follow the principle of every debit entry, there will be a corresponding credit entry. If you know you debit the receiver, you credit the giver. That is the very basic accounting equation. Then assets equal to owner's equity plus liability is just together to give us the accurate general ledger, so that you now split it between the asset, owner's equity, and liability. And there's no way any transaction can affect the 3 components at the same time. You cannot have a transaction that affects the asset, owner's equity, and liability at the same time. You see that affect only asset, negatively and positively, asset, owner's equity, positively and negatively, asset, affect liability, positive and negative, or affect 2 at the same time. Negative, positive, or positive, positive, or negative, negative. You can have that. Now, we also talk about the accounting principles. According to the GAPs, those are the work from the grade 10. That thing, you need to go back there to know what is it. Some of the work being done in grade 10, it will still come back. A bit of them will come back in grade 12 to just, like when you talk about salary journal, it might not be like you are doing the journal, but the calculation thereof, you need to familiarize yourself with it. You need to go back and revise it so that you won't miss it. Technical, ethical behavior and professionalism is very, very important for the corporate governance and some other things. Proper internal control system is very, very important, because those are the level 1, level 2 questions for you to grab it. Then let's go to the SWOT analysis. The SWOT analysis of yourself on accounting. You need to know yourself. You need to know your strength. You need to know your weaknesses. You need to know the opportunity and the strength, so that you balance yourself in accounting. Let's take for example, we talk about the strength. I'm just giving an example. Your strength might be because you practice a lot. You know certain topic to add. You might not even need to practice again before you write exam. You should not stay much on those. You need to go and practice more of challenging topics or questions so that you balance it up. You cannot be practicing the question that you're already getting 80% and above all the time. What about the one that you are struggling with 30%, 40%? You diagnose yourself. You check your papers. You, if possibly, you can go to your teacher, ask for your script to know the topic that you are struggling with, so that you attack them, you practice them more and more. Then, weakness can be the time management. It's always a common song, like accounting, you don't have enough time. There are some learners, if you give them 5 hours for 2 hours paper, they will never finish because they are very slow in writing. They might be good, but the time taken is very, very precious. It's very, very important to manage your time wisely. Otherwise, you won't be able to get it done properly. You need to know the opportunity we are talking about is that duration is already been given to you in the question paper. Question number 1, you know 30 minutes or 35 minutes. Question number 2, this and that. Question number 3, question number 4. Then you can put the clock, you time yourself. This question number 1, this is how long I'm going to spend on it. If I spend more of the time, I know it's going to disadvantage me for other papers, other questions. Therefore, in that case, you structure yourself, you know with the time. If you can do that, the time will not beat you. You will be able to beat the time and to complete your paper. If you complete writing your paper, there's a prospect, there's really a positive sign that you might get a good mark from the paper. Then the last one is the thread, which is also it's time is money. They can never give you extra time. If it's 2 hours, it's 2 hours for everybody. You cannot ask for additional minutes, additional time for it. You just have to structure yourself. That time is the main trouble. It's a threat to this paper. Therefore, you work over smart the time so that you get it done. During the 10 minutes reading time, we are all given 10 minutes to read the question paper before we do that. In that case, you make sure that 10 minutes, because you cannot write anything, but you can actually use your brain to say that these are 4 questions. Hey, question number 4, let me do this one first. If it's 10 marks, 12 marks, 15 marks, you can actually get all the marks. And you can actually do it within 10 minutes so that you save time for other complicated questions. I will tell my learner that question number 4 should have been the best question to start with. And you go to question number 2, you go to question number 3, then question number 1. If you don't know your stories, don't even go there to start with question number 1. You break yourself because you see some adjustment that will be disturbing you and can even spoil your whole day that you will never balance. Now, select the question according to your knowledge, the way you can do it faster. Make sure you do the easier question first before the complicated. They are not difficult, but they are very complicated. You can as well finish all the papers easily if you are very smart about it. We've been saying that the time is a problem. But what about those learners that finish the paper, smart one, they finish their paper completely, they even have the time to go through the paper one by one to know whether they omitted something or they made a mistake in one adjustment or one thing, which they can even draw a line on it and write the correct one before time up with them. Now, if you don't finish the paper, you can never get 100% of course, because if you miss 1 mark, 2 marks, 3 marks, it can never be given to you for free. It means that you'll be battling with less than 300 marks or 150 marks. You check your time, you work the time, you fast smart the time, and you make sure you pocket the small marks first. 1 mark, 2 marks, 3 marks before you add them together. It will become big marks. Just master your technique, your strategy. Make sure that you are very on it. In fact, if you know you are going to write accounting paper, don't drink too much of food or water. because you might be tempted to go to the toilet. Spending 5 minutes in the toilet is already a recipe for disaster. You should not go to the toilet during right unless you have a toilet problem, which is medical problem, medical situation. But if you can find a way of solving that problem, you better stand and make sure you clean yourself, you go to toilet, you titrate, before you go and write, so that you can be comfortable with the paper, so that you won't be having any problem of toilet problem. Please, just make sure you may maximize your time. You take everything seriously. Every mark is important. You should not leave any question unattended to. That is no in accounting. You should not do that. Gone are the days, I believe they are having negative marking. If you miss a question or maybe they remove it from the one you already got. Gone are the days, people that did accounting, that's why they are so strong and very, very, when they get to time, they don't joke with the time, because time is money. Then, you have to be disciplined with the time. As I said, time is not anybody's friend. You cannot add to the time. You can only reduce the time by your attitude or your slowness or whatever. Please, you need to be disciplined. If you have not finished a question with the time allocated to you, just leave that question, go to another one. If you are able to finish the other one, then you have enough time, then you can go back to those ones that you are incomplete, so that you can finish up the paper on a good note. If you finish the paper, I told you, I promise you, you can smile that I did this. But if you did not finish the paper, it's already a deficit. It's already a problem, negative to your marking, to your marks. Please, accounting is broken down into 3 areas or sessions or what have you. If you look at it, accounting complete life is about historical, it's about present, and it's about future. When you're talking about financial statement, cash flow statement, it's what's already been done that you are trying to analyze. If I go to analytical side of the scale, whereas when you are talking about the critical reasoning, you are talking about things that are happening presently to navigate through it. Then going to the future, it's like we are forecasting. It's a problem solving. It's a problem solving. Budget. What you already done. How can you do better? How can you save this? How can you save that? Internal control. The strategy to play, to control. You understand? All those things are very, very important to know, because accounting is just a very unique and balanced subject. Adjustment to be watched out for. To be watching out for. I say director fee is mostly like in all the questions, but it might not be in this way, but you should not take it lightly. You need to get so many practice on the director fee. What about the rent expense or rent income? When we have to have income received in advance, accrued expense, accrued income, prepaid expense, you can, but you can only have one of those in the rent income rate. But you can also have rent income and rent expense in the same question. If you are renting a premises for a business, but you sublet that premises to another business, therefore you'll be collecting rent, you'll also be paying rent. It means that it goes both ways. Then going to the insurance mostly is about prepaid, and you should know how to adjust your profit if you are to be giving calculation of a correct profit, which is very current nowadays. Say calculate correct profit before tax or profit after tax, after giving you adjustment that are omitted or that are mistakes that you have to correct them before you can now bring the profit to the correct one. You have to be very watchful there. Provision for bad debt adjustment. This is very, very interesting and very tricky, because the way they will give you the question, bad debt will be there, there might be another thing that affects the debtor's control that you have to be adjusted before. You can now adjust the provision to know whether the provision has reduced or increased. If you can do all this nicely, you balance it, then you'll be so good at it. Do not forget, decrease in provision is actually added to the other operating income. Increase in provision is additional expense. Therefore, you have to balance it up there. Then, if you have a bad debt, additional bad debt, you have to be very careful in that, because they might say you receive the money from the debtor, but the remaining balance will be written off. You have to find a way of getting the balance to be written off so that you reduce it from the bad debt before you do your adjustment. Therefore, let's go to the interest on loan, which is another one that they might even bring from the bad reconciliation statement or loan statement, where they will give you open balance payment, then they will meet interest on loan and they give you the balance. Then, if it is there, if the interest is capitalized, mostly they will give you that. You say opening balance plus the repayment minus the closing balance. Closing balance plus repayment minus opening balance. You work back, bottom up. You do it bottom up. That is closing balance of the loan plus repayment minus opening balance. You get your interest capitalized there. That will be interest expense. Otherwise, you remove the one in trial balance from the closing balance. You might get your interest on loan in there, which is a part of interest expense. Let's go to the bad debt recovered. They might give you a trick. They can give you a tricky question or adjustment that you receive a cash from the debtor that already been written off. Therefore, that one is no more a bad debt. That person is no more a debtor. It means that it's an additional income, which is other operating income. If it has been written as as debtor's control, it means that debtor's control has been reduced wrongly. You need to add that amount back so that you get the correct debtor's control. Then you put the amount as the bad debt recovered. That is how to deal with that. Then one line rule. This was really done in some school nicely in grade 11. In grade 12, there's no much of time to do all those things, but I would like you to go back to asset disposal, to go back to the calculation of depreciation. If accumulated depreciation is very close to the cost, it means that the asset might be very old, of course. And it means that if you calculate depreciation on that asset, especially on cost method, it might be more than the carrying value. Therefore, you ignore that depreciation, you subtract one from the carrying value in the beginning. That will be your depreciation of that asset for the year. Trading stock deficit or surplus. This one to be very, very careful with. It's very tricky because the good being returned. If return go back to the supplier, they can give you a donation, the drawings of the trading stock. They can say burglary, theft, all those things with insurance. Those are the things that make that thing to be very complex. You should be expecting any surprise. You should be expecting any surprise because questions come in different form. That's why you need to practice as much as possible. Profit or loss on sale of asset is actually part of income statement. If it's a profit, it's other operating income. If it's a loss on sale of the asset, it's actually expense. Then how do you know it's a loss or profit? If what the value of the asset at the point of sale, carrying value of the asset, is more than what the value or what they sold it for, it means that the worth of the asset is more than what they sold it for. It is a loss. That means they pay less than what they're supposed to pay for. If that is a loss, if the carrying value is now less than the selling price of the asset, it's a profit. It means that you got more bargain, more value for the asset than what it really worth at that point in time. Then it has to be well calculated. that you have to prorate the month sometimes. If the asset was sold during the year, it means that it must have been used for a few months before it was sold. Then depreciation must be calculated and added to accumulated in the beginning of that asset, so that you subtract it from the cost, then to get the carrying value. So you now compare it to the selling price. Then go to the loss due to fire, storm, or theft or burglary through the insurance claim. If you have to claim for the asset and they lost, maybe there was a burglary or theft of 20,000 rand worth of goods, but the insurance company can only pay 80% or compensate you for 80%. It means that 20% is a loss due to theft or whatever. That one you have to be very smart about it. Let's go to the buying back of shares. That one is a very tedious. It's it goes to the financial statement of financial position. That thing is a very serious to settle it. That you have to calculate so many. In fact, it can even take you to do the number 7 in the financial statement, so that you now figure out, you know what is the average price. Do not forget about the alignment. I normally use this for my learner: BARB, BRAB, or BAB, BRB. Then, if you follow those things, B, what I mean by B is a balance in the beginning, additional share issue, the purchase of share, and balance at the end. When you are doing the number of shares, you need to now relate it to the value of that share at that point in time, so that you now know whether the asset have been bought back above the average or at the average price. It can never be below the average. Forget about that. It can only be at the average price or above the average. If it's above the average, amount above the average will be taken from the retained income to get the retained income at the end. Then that is just it. Thank you very much for having me. My name is Daniel Babarinde again. I will see you in the next episode, because I would like to delve more with the financial statement adjustment. Stay tuned on this channel. I will get back to you. I really want more people to be getting 100% accounting. I wish you success in your examination. Please stay focused, practice a lot, and rest when it needed. Just watch out for financial statement on this channel. Stay blessed. Love you all. Have a wonderful exam.